Molly Sheba and bet twice. Those days at the racetrack are over. Today, another group of racing stars prepares to contest one of the richest, most important racing events of the summer, the Iselin Handicap. Budweiser racing across America. Today, live from Monmouth Park in Oceanport, New Jersey. It's the 54th running of the Philip H. Iselin Handicap. This ESPN sports presentation is brought to you by Budweiser, Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Thrifty Car Rental. Thrifty is a lot of car rental company for incredibly little. By Caesar's Palace, Las Vegas. Relive the legend. The Thoroughbred Racing Association, assuring the highest racing standards. And by the Breeders' Cup, racing's $10 million championship. Stay tuned for the Iselin Handicap from Monmouth Park, next on ESPN. We welcome you back to Monmouth Park for this historic track's premier event for the Handicap Division Thoroughbreds, now known as the Philip H. Iselin Handicap, in honor of the memory of its late president and chairman of the board, the man who saw every brick put into place at this sure race course. And hello again, everyone. I'm Chris Lincoln to welcome you to the 54th running of the Iselin Handicap, and one of America's best-kept racing secrets, beautiful Monmouth Park, and an absolutely perfect day here on the Jersey Shore. We're glad you're with us. Our experts, Dave Johnson and Pete Axel, are standing by in the paddock. Let's give you the conditions of racing today here for the Iselin. It is a Grade 1 event. $250,000 is on the line. For those thoroughbreds 3 and up, they'll go a mile and an eighth. I want to tell you a little bit about the field of 9. It includes 3 racing millionaires, the richest thoroughbred currently in training today in American racing, and a field that all total has earnings of more than $8.5 million. Now, the high weight was to have been private terms. Remember last year's post-time favorite at the Kentucky Derby? He was to carry 122 pounds. He was injured in the training accident earlier this week, a suspensory injury that has forced his retirement. He's on his way to Northview Stallion Station, Chesapeake City, Maryland. Been retired with earnings of $1.2 million after a brilliant career. So now that puts at the top of the scale, and is the favorite here, Crypto Clearance, closing in on $3 million in earnings. Crypto today will carry 121 pounds. There you see the other weight breakdown is assigned by Bobby Kalina, the racing secretary here at Monmouth Park, all the way down to Lustra, 106 pounds on the scale. We understand he's 2 pounds over at 108 here today, so about a 13-pound weight swing. Now, let's get a closer look at this field for the Iselin, and a great field it is. Let's go behind the grandstand of the beautiful walking ring, Dave Johnson and Pete Axtell.
And it was here at Monmouth Park in the 1950s. And Pete, you're too young to remember this, but horses like Nashua and Bold Ruler and Sword Dancer won this race.
Well, I don't know about this age stuff. There's some mornings I've woken up around here and I think I saw Hindu win this race in 1896. But my favorite races were Spectacular Bids and Spendabucks, and it does have a rich tradition. Very exciting.
And what a setting we have for today's contest. A beautiful day. In fact, Monmouth Park is my favorite racetrack, just to come out and enjoy the cars.
Well, it's certainly mine north of Broward County. And I applaud Phil Iselin and his partners through the years. They really designed this place for the player, the person who wants to enjoy racing. Chris mentioned that he watched where every brick was placed when it was built. Well, I'm proud to say that a few friends of mine and I, we paid for a lot of those bricks.
You ready to buy a few more? Let's take a look at the field of 9 after the late scratch this morning of number 2, New York Swell. So we start with the 8-5 morning line entry choice, Lustra with Tony Grael and Crypto Clearance with Jose Santos, the high and the low weight now. And Present Value with Frank Oliveri starts at 4.5 to 1. Me Selecto at 10 with Rick Wilson, and Frank Lovato rides Intensive Command at 15. Jerry Bailey with Proper Reality at 5 to 2, the second choice. Little Bold John with Donnie Miller at 8. Billy Shears at 15 to 1 with Ruben Hernandez, and Rick Wilson completes the field with Back Bay Banquet at 20.
And a big question, Dave, the speed bias of this racetrack. Horses have been winning here on the rail in front. Obviously, Lustra, Crypto's stablemate, will be in front, but I think this race will end up going to one of the horses that stalks Lustra. I think it's all up against Crypto Clearance today.
You going to tell us who it is?
Oh, no, we're saving that for later in the show.
Okay.
We don't want to lose the audience.
But, you know, I feel like Crypto Clearance is good enough that he can overcome that speed bias. I saw him on a couple of very glib tracks at the Meadowlands, and he can handle it. He's got the class to come from way off the pace, even on a track this fast.
there any lights around here? Is this the Meadowlands?
That's what he needs? You know, they're not talking about just the horses. They're talking about the jockeys. Frank Olivares in from California. Jose Santos and Jerry Bailey and Frank Lovato, they're in from Saratoga for the card. And Donnie Miller motored up from Maryland.
Well, the trainers are also very interesting. We'll be talking throughout the show about the glamour trainers, the trainers of the favorites. But I look at a couple of long shot trainers like Sonny Hine. He doesn't chase any empty wagons, and he's in here. And John Robb with Little Bull John. The last time I saw him, he was leaving Gulfstream Park after the Don Handicap, in which he beat Skip Trial at a huge price, and his bankroll was reaching to the sky. And I remember it vividly and with great respect, because my bankroll was heading right toward the basement, the cheapest bar I could find.
Well, today is a great day for people who like to bet high-priced horses, because we had 8 stakes races on the card, purses totaling $500,000 plus.
All right, Dave and Pete, and you take a look again at that gorgeous walking ring here behind the grandstands at Monmouth Park. Behind us, they're running the 9th race. Our feature is the 10th race this afternoon. You know, Monmouth Park is a member of the Thoroughbred Racing Associations. To tell you more about this outstanding organization, here's their official spokesperson, good friend of ours, ABC's Jim McKay.
Everybody who goes to the races has heard of the TRA, but I wonder if you know what it is and what it does. Well, the initials stand for Thoroughbred Racing Associations, and today it's an organization, a voluntary organization, of more than 50 major thoroughbred racetracks in America. It's not something that was superimposed by some outside force. It was formed on a voluntary basis by the associations themselves back in 1942. 4 years later, they formed the TRPB, the Thoroughbred Racing Protective Bureau. That was an effort to police themselves, to protect the integrity of their sport. Today, the TRPB investigates allegations of wrongdoing, does background checks on licensees in the sport, even maintains a special undercover task force. The TRPB also tattoos the lips of every thoroughbred racehorse for identification. What else does the TRA do? Well, it administers and co-sponsors the Eclipse Awards, the highest honor in the sport. And generally, it's dedicated to the improvement of racing on every front, and most especially to the integrity of a great sport.
Well, when we come back, we'll take a closer look at our favorites here. Some of the crowd of 24,000 enjoying a beautiful day on the Jersey Shore. In the distance, a big tanker moving out to the open Atlantic Ocean here, just about 7 furlongs away from beautiful Monmouth Park. Well, we talked about our favorites, Crypto Clearance, certainly Prop Reality fits in there. How good is this handicap division, the older horses of 1989? Well, to look for the edge, we went to the Axe. Here's Pete.
How do you judge when a handicap division is good? Do you do it by the millions of dollars these horses have won that we'll be watching today? Or do you do it other ways? Sometimes horses are like people you fall in love with. It's wonderful that they're very rich, but are they really that good?
I think that happens, you know, when there were three-year-olds, they said that was the worst crop of three-year-olds I've ever seen. But I think as time went on, they realized it was the best crop. So I think the same kind of thing happens now. We got some real good handicap horses around. And I think Crypto Clearance is about as good as any of them, or maybe better.
When you take a good look at Crypto Clearance, our favorite today, you don't see a horse that exudes power. This is no muscular secretariat type. He's a skinny horse. In fact, probably thinner than at least 2 of the 3 personnel on our show today. But what he does is run. He tries very hard. He gets the money, almost $3 million worth. He's the proof that in racing, the glorious thing that can happen is that once in a while, an ugly duckling can grow up into a swan. And it's even more satisfying because, as the great racing writer Joe Palmer once said, most ugly ducklings grow up into ugly ducks. You chefs in the audience, call this piece the bouillabaisse of cliches. We've already had an ugly duckling. Now let's try Giant Killer. Proper Reality. Well, he didn't have to kill any giants in the Midwest, but he did his number and beat a lot of good horses. Then he came to New York against the mythical Seeking the Gold, and his entry made Dancing Spree, both from the mighty Fifth Stable, home of Easy Goer. Well, what happened? Prop Reality drove up the rail and got the job done.
Seeking the goal, now gets the lead on the outside. Stablemate Dancing Spree moves into second. On the inside, Team Try, Finder's Choice on the rail. Then Proper Reality finding room between horses. On the outside, here comes It's Academic. They're at the 8th pole. Dancing Spree on the outside. Now puts ahead in front. Seeking the goal, back into second. Proper Reality closing ground on the rail. The entry running 1-2. Dancing Spree seeking the goal, closing ground. Proper Reality to the wire.
A final element of drama today is a potential feud, a shootout at the Monmouth Corral. Because in the Hawthorne Gold Cup, Lustra, the pace setter for Crypto Clearance, actually bothered Proper Reality as he was making his move. Should Crypto Clearance have been disqualified? Some people think he perhaps should have been. Will the questions be answered today? That's what we're here for.
Well, there you take a look at our horses for the Iselin Handicap coming towards the paddock area. Crypto Clearance being led by the young man in the red shirt, 1A you see there. Crypto Clearance $30,000 away now from being a $3 million winner in his tremendous career for Phil Tynemitz, the owner, and Scotty Schulhofer, the trainer. Well, Crypto Clearance is the favorite. There's a horse that right now has tremendous current form. That's Present Value. Dave Johnson is set to introduce you to one of the newest big names in America.
Confidence. It's important in all sports, and it usually means a winner. And according to trainer Jerry Fanning, Present Value has confidence. 3 straight wins in the Midwest tabs him as the now horse in today's Iselin Handicap. His streak started with a major upset victory over the top handicap horse Proper Reality in the Michigan Mile.
I really didn't think we could beat Proper Reality going in, but this horse that day just outran him. But we got 10 pounds from him, so I think that helped.
It's Present Value on the outside, gamely holding on to the lead. Proper Reality trying to come to him on the inside. A 16th to come. Present Value going for the upset. Proper Reality second. Present Value wins the mile.
Then it was on to the Equipoise Mile at Arlington Park in Chicago for an easy tally. That was followed by a trip up to Minnesota for a track record-setting 4-length score in the Canterbury Cup. 1 mile and an 1/8 in 1:47 and 4. Present Value is at the top of his game, on the verge of being one of the nation's top handicap stars. But Fanning did not have that kind of glory in mind when he gave $160,000 for the son of Halo 9 months ago.
We bought him not expecting what he is, but he's turned out to be really a nice horse.
Jerry, why did you buy him, and what were your plans?
Well, the purses are really big in California right now for high-price claiming horses and good allowance horses, and he had proven he was a pretty good 3-year-old. He hadn't ran really good at 4, but he looked like he was sound, and he was for sale, so we took a look at him.
3 straight wins, earnings of more than $537,000 in 1989. Now, what does Fanning think of his horse?
He's come to the race real good. I worked him on a track this morning. He worked real good, and Crypto Clearance is always tough, and Proper Reality's back in there. But I think this horse can run real well.
Jerry Bailey, so far today, been a good trip down from Saratoga, a couple of wins. It seemed to people that are here every day that the track bias really favors speed. Would you agree with that?
I would say yes, especially today. It's very quick fractions, and it seems like not necessarily the best horse is holding through the stretch.
The other question, when you have an acknowledged rabbit like Lustra in a race, how does that affect everybody else's strategy? It's not like just 2 normal speed horses trying to go for the lead or something, but when you know that he's a sacrificial rabbit, how does it affect where you want to sit?
Well, you can't just assume that the horses to beat are going to get killed off by the rabbit, because they could let him go and set their own leisurely pace. He's going to stop. We know that. The question is can Present Value, let's say a horse that runs on a lead, can he take back and relax off a horse like that and still make a run? Well, we've got to keep our eyes and ears open through the race to figure that out. But with this, the track bias like it is, I say he'd be forwardly placed, and I'm not going to be too far behind.
To tell some viewers who didn't happen to see the Met and don't know Midwestern races, what kind of horse is Proper Reality?
Well, at times it seems he's a notch below, but then at other times he seems like he can beat the best. So if you could read their minds, if they could talk, it'd be easy game. But he's beat the best on occasions, and sometimes he hasn't. But on a given day, he can beat anybody.
Well, I wish I could read their minds. I'd be doing a lot better at this meet. Back to you, Chris.
All right, how good's the racing here? Well, our 9th race just won. The crowd roared. A dead heat. Diamonds galore, tips a fact. 110 and a dead heat in racing. Our horses have arrived in the walking ring. We'll be back to tell you more stories about this Iselin Handicap. Our stars for the Iselin Handicap are being saddled. The trainers are doing their last bit of checking on that equipment. Let's see what the fans have to say now about this field, as we'll take a look at the entry of Lustre Crypto Clearance, remaining as the 8-5 favorites here. New York Swell has been scratched. Present Value, remember, open at 9-2. He is now at 5-2. Me Selecto at 25-1. Continuing on with our check of the odds here. This is how the players see him at Monmouth Park. We can also tell you that Intensive Command, the 5 horses at 18-1. Prop Reality is second choice at 2-1. Little Bull John at 8-1. Billy Shares at 30, and Back Bay Banquet at 70-1. Well, the late president and chairman here at Monmouth Racetrack, Philip H. Iselin, of course, this race is named for today, was a very innovative man in racing. Under his direction, he allowed really the first chaplain to the backside of a major American racetrack. Well, this led to the organization, the National Racetrack Chaplaincy of America, and that is the subject of our special Inside Racing Profile feature. Early morning on the backside of the racetrack. Everyone here is dedicated to the care and development of the thoroughbred racehorse. But who cares for the people of the backside in racing? The racetrackers, grooms, hot walkers, exercise riders, trainers, and jockeys.
It says in 1 Peter 2:9, but you are a special people, that you might proclaim the power of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light.
This is Chaplain Gene Gregory, an ordained minister, one of 30 chaplains at 50 racetracks in 18 states, part of the Racetrack Chaplaincy of America, the organization entrusted with the care and development of the people on the racetrack. RTCA's Executive Director, Homer Triculades.
We're here in order to represent Christ, to minister to the needs of every person at the racetrack, regardless of what capacity in which he's serving. We minister to their social needs, their family needs, their work-related needs, their spiritual needs, their emotional needs. That's why we're here. Our goal is to place a chaplain at every racetrack in America.
The racetrack chaplaincy began with this man, H.W. Salty Roberts, on the racetrack since 1946 as an exercise rider in the morning and a parking attendant in the afternoon. He founded the chaplaincy in 1971, 5 years after finding himself.
22 years ago, I was a walking dead man, and I cried out to God and said, Father, have mercy on me and save me and help me. And he did. And then I began to look around in my world and see an awful lot of my friends in an industry that I love. I love the people. I knew God did. And I said, well, Lord, send some help to help them. And sure enough, he did.
The chaplains serve as minister, social worker, counselor, and friend for racetrackers. They've had a major impact on many people's lives, including champion rider Pat Day.
Well, what it's meant for me is a ministry on the racetrack that I've been able to participate in and be a part of and to be fed by it.
Thursday night at Monmouth Park, the weekly chapel service, where the Racetrack Chaplaincy of America continues to provide for the spiritual needs of those who live and work on the backside. They listen, they pray, they sing, they give, and they receive. Romans 8:28. We know that in all things, God works for good with those who love him, those whom he has called according to his purpose. We're very proud to announce that Thoroughbred Sports, ESPN, and Budweiser are making a $1,000 donation to the Racetrack Chaplaincy of America to support this group and all of its fine works for those who are so important to this sport, to those, the backstretchers, the racetrackers of American racing. We'll be back with our Iselin post-parade. Stay with us to return to Monmouth Park on the Jersey Shore.
I'm back with the sartorial king of East Coast racing, a man who, among other things, has endured the fate of having to train some horses for me. George, you swung and missed with Back Bay Banquet twice at this race. You're going back for a third time. Is the third time going to be a charm?
Well, I tell you, I have a lot of confidence in this horse. He's training dynamite, even though he has a screw in his leg, and he's handling it good. I've got tough competition. But if I don't win today, then, you know, 3 strikes and you're out. So I might go down the road and look for a little softer company.
Speaking of roads, we're neighbors in South Florida, and I'm proud to say that George and I occasionally meet en route to the barns in the morning at the country's only topless donut shop, which is located in Fort Lauderdale. I think that alone entitles you to the Hall of Fame berth.
Well, Pete, I didn't think you were going to bring that up, but the coffee is excellent, and it's 5:30 in the morning, and it's kind of an eye-opener. And, you know, it's an enjoyable cup of coffee. I'm sorry. Sometimes I stop on the way back and get another cup.
And there are also many mornings when both of us need that eye-opener. Back to you, Chris.
Oh, what kind of lead is that? Let me get right to the post parade here for the Iselin Handicap. We'll start with the Rabbit. May not look like one, but that's just what he is. Lustra, the $100,000 purchase by Phil Tynemus to set up speed to help his closer Crypto clearance. Lustra, in 5 races with Crypto, has been eased twice and beaten the total of almost 60 lengths in the other 3. But Crypto has won 2 of them. The rider is Tony Grayall from Panama's famed Jockey School. His mounts have won over $20 million. He's won 14 titles at Thistledown Racetrack, that fine track in Cleveland, Ohio. 1A, here's the big horse. This is why the entry is at 6-5. This is Crypto clearance, just over 30,000 away from the 3 million mark, the richest horse in training in American racing last year in 5.6 million. The 7 horse from Maryland, Little Bold John, another one of our millionaire money earners. The 7-year-old veteran goes to the post for the 79th time today, has won more than $1.7 million. 3 firsts and a second in his last 5 starts. He is 9-1. Donnie Miller up from Maryland won the 84 Iselin to Believe the Queen. The 8 horse in our post parade is Billy Shears. This from the Sonny Hines stable won the Grade 3 Salvatore Mile here on August the 8th, so likes this track. Ruben Hernandez, a veteran rider who won the Belmont back in '79 on Coastal. He has them out today. And rounding out our field, the 9 horse is Back Bay Banquet. A Keeneland purchase of $20,000 and about a bargain as he has returned better than $386,000. Makes his 3rd straight Iselin appearance, 6th in '87, 5th last year, has been in the money 5 of 6 this year for the colorful donut gourmet George Handy. There's our field for the Iselin Handicap of 1989, a field that has earned more than $8.5 million. And we'll try to add to that bankroll today with a $250,000 guaranteed purse, $150,000 to the winner. We've pretty much outlined our favorites for you. Crypto clearance, a strong favorite now. Proper Reality, 2nd choice. Present Value, 3rd. What about a Budweiser long shot? Well, here's our pick.
Today's Bud long shot is Intensive Command. Since trainer Phil Gleaves added blinkers over the winter in Florida, the 4-year-old has been a model of consistency on the dirt, and we're talking racing in top company. Take, for example, the Never Bend Handicap at Pimlico, where he encountered Private Terms.
Running down to the 8th pole, Private Terms is finding more. Intensive Command chasing him home on the outside, but Private Terms still full of run out there, and it's Private Terms from Intensive Command and New York Swell. Private Terms and Kent DeSormu out there to take the Never Bend.
That day, both Private Terms and Intensive Command bettered the track record by more than a second. And remember, prior to his sudden retirement, Private Terms was the high weight and probable favorite for today's Iselin. And Gleaves, one of the nation's top young conditioners, knows how to pull an upset in a big one here at Monmouth Park. He saddled Wise Times for a $24.60 long shot payoff in the 86 Haskell here. Bud long shot players know the importance of consistency, and they're hoping that Intensive Command's consistency will pay dividends at the Mutual windows this afternoon as our Budweiser long shot.
Intensive Command opened at 15. He is now on the board, the 5 horse at 21-1 for Intensive Command. So as the horses warm up and they prepare for the Iselin, we'll take a break here from the crowd on a beautiful day at Monmouth Park. Get ready for this look back at a Breeders' Cup Championship moment.
Another Breeders' Cup Championship moment. The San Gabriel Mountains and Santa Anita Park provided a majestic setting for racing's regal lady. From start to finish, Lady Secret staged a Horse of the Year performance in the $1 million Breeders' Cup Distaff. But it is Lady Secret who puts it in another gear as they turn for home. Lady Secret, another flawless performance. For Lady Secret, this crowd-pleasing victory was her Breeders' Cup Championship moment.
And welcome back to Monmouth Park on one of the most beautiful afternoons of the year, and we're just moments away from the start of the Iselin Handicap. Take a look at the odds. Lustra and Crypto Clearance 2 for the price of 1, and the odds 3-2. That means a little bit better than even money. New York Swell Scratch, present value surprisingly at 2-1. Me Selecto at 25. Intensive Command at 20. Proper Reality at 2-1. Little Bold John at 10. Billy Shears at 30, and Back Bay Banquet, the long shot, at 60-1. A few surprises on that tote board. I was surprised that Present Value and Proper Reality are as low as they are, 2-1 for that pair. I really like two horses in here, though. I like the favorite, Crypto Clearance, and I like the Bud Longshot Intensive Command at 20-1 right now. At 20-1, I can afford to bet both of them win in place, and I can afford to bet Crypto Clearance to place because the folks here have bet as much on the 6-horse Proper Reality to place as they have on Crypto Clearance. So win in place on both of them, and an exacta box with the 1 and the 5. Chris?
All right, Dave, and I'm sure Dave was looking through the racing form pretty closely as he was making his handicapping decisions. We want to give you the chance to go inside the daily racing form, and to do that, we'll go the man who is the daily racing form representative here at Monmouth Park. That's Jack Kelly. Here's Jack Kelly inside the daily racing form for the Iselin Handicap.
The key to the Iselin for Crypto Clearance will be the pace, and he's set up with Lustra, who he has 6 races back after losing in the Gulfstream Park Handicap. Since that time, Lustra, as you can see on the form, with noted by the little E, he's been running as an entry with Crypto Clearance to give him some pace to run out. It worked in the Widener, and it worked again in the Gold Cup Handicap, so he won't have any problem. Lustra goes about 3/4 mile, and he usually backs it up. Present Value coming into the race, going back earlier this season, he didn't show much, but as of late, since the Michigan Mile, he was sent off, as you can see, 49-1, pulled a major upset. Since that time, he's been the favorite twice and set a track record as noted by the speed rating in the Canterbury Cup last out. Then you have Proper Reality coming in. He's been an unfortunate horse this year. You can look at the trouble lines. He was bumped and taken up in the Oaklawn Handicap. He had trouble on the Met Mile in traffic, but he still managed to win that race. Then he had trouble again in the Michigan Mile when bothered by Lustra on both terms. So he should be a strong factor in the race.
Pete Axom joined us on the front side now. I'm glad to get you out of the paddock and away from George Handy and memories of Florida, Pete. But what were some of your observations, besides those ones with George, in the paddock of the horses today?
Well, the horse that looked even better than a topless donut shop was Present Value. I think Jerry Fanning brought this horse here dead fit. I was very impressed. I also thought Little Bull John looked full of himself. There were no particular negatives. We know we've talked earlier in the show that Crypto's never going to blow your eyeballs out with his appearance, but he looks his usual compact, relaxed self. So I can't give any real indications except that I didn't give Present Value much shot, and now I do.
I know you teased earlier in this show that you had a pick, a selection to make, and you were holding it. Is this the moment?
This is the moment. I talked earlier in the show that I think John Robb is one of the crafty trainers in the East Coast, and I think he's going to get the money today. I like Little Bull John.
And there he is, Little Bull John, as they are getting to the starting gate now. We'll take a look at the track and stakes record, one of Pete Axom's all-time favorites, Spend a Buck, 146-4. It's a fast track. Been a lot of speed on this track, Dave. We may threaten that today as we go to the top of the stands. And Dave Johnson, who'll be calling the Iselin Handicap.
And that's the long shot I like, Intensive Command. You can throw out his turf race. He's second after a long layoff, which is another little handicapping tip there. And here comes Proper Reality with Jerry Bailey in. Little Bull John is tough, but I don't think he's tough enough. He'll be tough in the Maryland Million, though. And Billy Shears was going to go in another race until Slew City Slew dropped out earlier this week, so they put him in here. And here's Back Bay Banquet with Art Madrid. Art Madrid, Jerry Bailey, and Jose Santos all going for their third winner of the afternoon. And just one behind the gate, and that is Crypto Clearance, the late running favorite. All in line.
They're up.
And Lustra went to his knees there at the start, but has the lead. On the inside, it's Lustra with Tony Grayel, showing the way by a length and a half. On the outside, Little Bold John is second. Present Value from between horses. Now those three across the track, battling for command. Back Bay Banquet is fourth on the outside. Then at the rail, it's Me Selecto in fifth by a head. Billy Shears is sixth. Then comes Proper Reality in seventh. Then comes the Bud Longshot Intensive Command, and Crypto Clearance is ninth and last, about 17 lengths off the leader. His stablemate, Lustra, who sets the pace with the first quarter in 23. On to the backstretch. Lustra on the inside, leading it by a half length, and Present Value on the outside. Now comes alongside to challenge, a gap of a length and a quarter. And Little Bold John, gaining with every stride, is third on the outside. Me Selecto, tucked in at the rail, is racing fourth by a length and a half. Then Billy Shears in fifth. Back Bay Banquet sixth. At the rail, Proper Reality and Jerry Bailey in seventh. Then on the outside, Intensive Command, and 4 lengths back to Crypto Clearance, who is last, and still has not begun his late charge. Around the far turn, the half in 46 and 4. And on the outside, Billy Shears takes the lead by a head. Along the inside, that's Present Value in second, Me Selecto third, and Proper Reality. Coming to the top of the stretch, Ruben Hernandez aboard Billy Shears, trained by Sonny Hine and taking command now by 2 lengths. Me Selecto on the outside is second. At the rail, Present Value is third. And down the stretch they come. Billy Shears digging in and holding on. Me Selecto on the outside. Jerry Bailey moves to the rail with Proper Reality. 40 yards to the finish. Billy Shears on the outside, and Proper Reality at the rail. A photo finish. Proper Reality flying along the inside with Jerry Bailey. Billy Shears with Ruben Hernandez on the outside in a last desperate effort to hold on to the victory. It's a photo, Chris.
What a finish, Dave. We had Proper Reality, the Florida bred. The horse, of course, has stamped himself as a favorite down in Arkansas and won so many big races at Oaklawn Park for trainer Bob Holtis, who is the leading trainer, both at Oaklawn and their meet completed, and now currently at Louisiana Downs, owned by Mr. James A. Wynn. He took the same route, it looked like, as he did for the Met Mile. But, of course, it was also battling New Jersey's own, the Due Process horse, and that was some kind of finish. Take a look now as Billy Shears in the green. On the inside, Pop Reality. On the outside, the 4-horse Me Selecto to the wire. The Silks of Mrs. James A. Wynn of Hot Springs, Arkansas, look to be headed to the winner's circle. That's the unofficial numbers on the board. Number 6, Pop Reality with Jerry Bailey with a dramatic inside rush up the rail to just nail at the wire the 8-horse, the courageous Jersey-bred Bill E. Shears, with the 4-horse Me Selecto finishing third. Crypto Clearance at 1A, close but not enough to get any better than fourth. Fourth pays $15,000 in this $250,000 guaranteed race. That is not enough to get him to the $3 million mark. Let's go up to Dave Johnson again for another look at an incredible finish.
The eventual winner is fourth with the yellow cap on the rail. Billy Shears and Present Value battling it out on the front end. And the eventual winners you see with the yellow, red, and blue sleeves on the inside, Jerry Bailey moving through along the inside. It looked like the 35-to-1 shot Billy Shears, who joined this race only after the defections of Slough City Slough and Present and Private Terms, but it looked like he might get home with Ruben Hernandez. But on the inside, here comes Proper Reality with a late burst of speed, picking up all the pieces, giving Jerry Bailey his third winner of the afternoon. Me Selecto with a late rush gets the show money. Between horses, Billy Shears, a dramatic finish, and Proper Reality adds another big stakes race to his 1989 record.
Well, as you mentioned, he's been first or second, Dave, in his last 5 starts. That looks so reminiscent to me of the Metropolitan Mile back on Memorial Day. He used the same path right along the rail when he nipped in that one, seeking the goal and dancing spree. They have made it official now. It is officially Proper Reality in the winner's circle of the 54th running of the Philip H. Iselin Handicap. The time, 1 minute and 48 seconds. Well off Spendabuck's 1:46 and 4 1985 stakes and track mark over a fast racing strip here this afternoon. And a great ride by Jerry Bailey. You saw him working with the right hand, then change inside the 16th pole to the left-handed whip, and just get Pop Reality to the wire in front of Billy Shears. And thank you, an Angel Cordero type dismount for Jerry Bailey. Congratulations. Welcome back to the New Jersey Shore and to Monmouth Park, where Papa Reality has just added his name to the history of great race horses who won the Iselin Handicap. Here are the payoffs: 680, 420, 380. The mile and an eighth in 148. Billy Shears, the New Jersey bred of due process, with a tremendous attempt to hold on at the end there, pays $28 for the place, $9.60 for the show. That's the same return for the show horse Me Selecto. Again, crypto clearance running fourth today and short of the $3 million mark. Let's go down to the winner's circle now, and Pete Axel.
Thank you, Chris. I don't know who it was that ever said you can never believe a jockey's predictions before a race. But Jerry Bailey, you predicted to me before the race, or you analyzed to me, that the rail was the place to be, and it sure was for you.
Well, you know, I was looking at other options. I was wanting to be closer than I was, but it didn't materialize, and I didn't want to force him early, so it was exactly the opposite of the way I thought it would come up. But he ran so hard the last quarter of a mile. It was kind of reminiscent of the Met Mile in New York.
We're coming to a replay of the stretch run in a moment. Here we go. Let's take a look at it and describe what's going on.
Well, I'm the one horse that Billy Shears is holding me in very, very tight, and I'm trying to get outside the lead horse. I thought it was a better place, but he wouldn't let me out. My horse really wasn't responding, so I just let him drift to the inside like he did in the Met Mile, and he ran hard the last 16th of a mile. He really ran him down. I very seldom hit him left-handed, but when it counts, I get into him, and he really responds from the left hand.
When we talked earlier in the show, we also spoke about the fact that you couldn't be sure just how good he was, that some days he was as good as any horse you could want, and other days he kind of disappointed. Now he's put this victory behind the Met. Are you a little more convinced?
I am. And you know, it may sound crazy. I've ridden him probably 10 times, 12 times. I think I've just found out how he runs the best. The more he has to overcome the last quarter of a mile, I think the better off he is. When you leave something simple for him to do, like 2 lengths, he seems not to take it seriously enough and kind of goof off a bit. But the more you leave him, the more he tries.
Well, thank you for stopping by, and congratulations for a successful trip.
Thanks.
Let's go to Chris.
All right, thank you, Pete. We're going to take a look now at the rest of the field here in the order of finish. You know about the top 3. Crypto Clearance 4th. Little Bull John, the Maryland Millionaire, finishing 5th. Intensive Command, the Bud Long Shot, running 6th. Present Value has to be disappointing after 3 straight stakes wins, running 7th. Back Bay Banquet 8th. And as you expect, Lustre the Rabbit finishes 9th. And the trophy presentation, there is Mrs. Philip Iselin with Bob Holtis, Jerry Bailey, and Mrs. Wynn, Mr. Wynn there accepting the Iselin trophy.
In the glory days of Rome, Caesar entertained his guests with the most spectacular sporting events in all the empire. 2,000 years later, he still does. Caesar's Palace. Relive the legend.
The Cardiff Stud Farms of California present the stallion Skywalker, winner of over $2.2 million, including the Grade 1 Santa Anita Derby and Thoroughbred Racing's richest prize, the Breeders' Cup Classic. Skywalker, the classic winner at Cardiff.
Well, back at Monmouth Park, where our story has been wrapped up here, the Iselin Handicap has been won by Papa Reality, who adds $150,000 more to already impressive bankroll. He now goes over $1.6 million. Well, this is racing across America. Certainly we're aware of other major races and other activities around the country, including up at Saratoga on their final weekend of racing for their August meeting. One of the big races, an allowance race, surprisingly, about a $40,000 purse. You wouldn't think it was that big a deal. Well, it's the first race of the day, and I think you'll recognize this lady on the front end. This is Winning Colors, last year's champion 3-year-old filly, and of course the Kentucky Derby winner, making her first appearance back on the track since May 13th in an allowance sprint race at 6 furlongs. She wins by 4 1/4 in 1:10-1. Welcome the lady Winning Colors back to the races. Now we are trying to get the results official from the Hopeful Stakes. We understand that Summer Squall has won the race, but there was also an inquiry. So we're trying to make it official. Unofficially, Summer Squall, the undefeated horse owned by Dogwood Stable, bred by Will Farish at Lane's Inn Farm, remains undefeated to this point. Again, this is 1:16-4 the time for the Hopeful Stakes, a major race. Sir Richard Lewis was 2nd. Eternal Flight was 3rd. We're trying to confirm that that is official. There had been an inquiry. There still is an inquiry going on, we understand, at Saratoga. That's why we cannot show you the race at this time. Let's go now to Pete Axel, his final thoughts on a busy day of racing.
Well, it's certainly a busy day here. I'm with Bob Holtis and his bride over on the far side, and Mr. and Mrs. Jim Wynn, the owners of Proper Reality. And one quick question. During the week, because of the horse's layoff, and you had said that he had been treated for parasites, which of course isn't a serious problem, but it gave some people pause of whether you could bring him up to a race of this caliber.
Well, he had worked well here at the track. We thought after the Michigan Mile that he definitely needed a little time off, and we brought him up here and we wormed him for parasites, and he is, you know, he trained well here. He worked 3/4 11 and 2, and he showed it today.
He sure did. Jim, just quickly, what he's accomplished in the Met and here, you think he's made believers of everybody in the East Coast as well as the Midwest?
Oh, I sure do. We're sure proud of him. He's done real well. He gives you a heart attack, but that's all right as long as he gets there in front.
And we'd all like to have that kind of heart attack, wouldn't we? Let's go to Dave.
The handicap division is going to heat up in the fall of the year with the big races at Belmont Park, and also with the Breeders' Cup coming up at Gulfstream Park. Looks like Crypto Clarence maybe didn't have a great one today, but he'll bounce back. Proper Reality proves he's for real. I guess they'll have to meet Easy Goer down the line. Chris?
Well, Dave, we're getting ready to hop a flight to the land of enchantment. We'll be at Ruidoso Downs for the All-American Derby tomorrow afternoon, live from Ruidoso Downs, 5 o'clock Eastern time, as the 3-year-old quarter horses go 440 yards in one of the richest and most important events for the sophomores in the quarter horse rank. And here you take a look at our finish again of this, one of the most exciting of the 54 runnings of the historic Philip Iselin Handicap. On the inside, Proper Reality in the colors of the winds, just getting to the wire in front of an outstanding field here today. Hope you enjoyed our coverage of the Iselin Handicap from Monmouth Park. Brought to you today by Budweiser, Beechwood Age, for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Caesars Palace, Las Vegas, relive the legend. By Three Chimneys, the idea is excellence. Olympic Stain, these guys are smart. The Cardis Stud Farms of California. And by Keeneland, source of the classic horse. Ground transportation provided by Thrifty Car Rental. For reservations at over 700 locations worldwide, call Thrifty at 1-800-4CARS. Accommodations for ESPN while on the Jersey Shore, provided by the Shoreham Hotel and Spa, a tradition since 1890. Charts and statistics courtesy of the Daily Racing Form. America's Turf Authority. Proper Reality wins the Iselin. Winning Colors makes a successful return to the races. And Summer Squall unofficially has won the hopeful. The inquiry sign still up at Saratoga. What a day of racing. And what a day for Jerry Bailey and Proper Reality, winners of the Iselin Handicap. So long, everyone.